The Legend of Zelda has become one of the most recognizable names in gaming. Despite the series' main character being Link, the hero of Hyrule, Nintendo's flagship action-adventure games are named after the kingdom's princess, Zelda. But have you ever wondered why the series has this name? Why is Princess Zelda called Princess Zelda? And what is her legend? Let's delve into Hyrule's history and look back at the origins of the series' title. The Legend of Zelda was the brainchild of Shigeru Miyamoto, who wanted to create a game which could capture the sense of adventure he felt when exploring the countryside as a child. In the foreword of Hyrule Historia, Miyamoto explains that he was always set on titling his game The Legend of something, but struggled to land on what that something was going to be. A PR planner suggested that the game could be accompanied by an illustrated storybook, a classic fairy tale where Link rescues a beautiful princess. The idea for a storybook was dropped, but the PR planner's suggestion for the princess's name stuck: Zelda. He suggested that they name her after the wife of F. Scott Fitzgerald, author of The Great Gatsby. Zelda Fitzgerald didn't only have a name fit for a fantasy princess, she was known as a figure of glamour, mystery, and tragedy in equal measure. To the Nintendo developers in the 1980s, almost 40 years after her death, Zelda Fitzgerald's life would have seemed like a legend, and her name would have carried connotations of both exuberance and sorrow. So, though Miyamoto rejected the first game's accompanying storybook, he loved the idea of using this name, enough that he not only named the princess after her, but the title of his game too. However, the story isn't that simple. The Legend of Zelda was originally only intended to be the title for the first game. The series itself was going to have a different name, the Hyrule Fantasy. This early idea is shown by the original game's Japanese title, which translates to The Hyrule Fantasy: The Legend of Zelda. According to story director Takashi Tezuka, the intention was always that the original game would spawn a series. The Hyrule Fantasy: The Legend of Zelda was to be followed by many others, all sharing the name The Hyrule Fantasy. Why this name didn't stick is something even the developers themselves aren't sure of. Miyamoto admits that he doesn't know why it was dropped, and Tezuka claims to have forgotten. Miyamoto suggests that having 3 titles for A Link to the Past would have been too long, or that they thought that the name was too similar to Final Fantasy. Another possibility is that it's a result of the first game's international success, as it was released worldwide as only The Legend of Zelda, dropping the Hyrule Fantasy title entirely. However, it seems that the decision to drop the Hyrule Fantasy as the series' main title came much earlier, as the second game in the series launched in Japan before the first had been released worldwide, in early 1987, and was simply titled The Legend of Zelda 2: Adventure of Link. Not only was this before the international release of Zelda 1, it was before the launch of Final Fantasy 2, leaving the removal of the Hyrule Fantasy as something of a mystery. But interestingly, it is this second installment that gives us a canonical, in-universe explanation for the series' title, and tells us what The Legend of Zelda actually is. The game begins in the North Castle, where Link finds Princess Zelda, a separate princess entirely to the one featured in the first game. This Zelda is cursed, and has been trapped in an endless slumber for years. She can only be woken with the full power of the Triforce, meaning Link must hunt down the Triforce of Courage to save her. Like with most older video games, Adventure of Link's manual gives us much more information. It explains that the story of this sleeping princess is handed down in Hyrule, a story known as The Legend of Zelda. This Zelda, known as Princess Zelda I, was cursed long ago by an evil wizard, who worked alongside her brother, a young, unfit king, to try and glean knowledge of the Triforce from her. As soon as she fell into her eternal sleep, however, the king was overcome with grief and regret. He placed her on the altar in the North Castle and ordered that every female child born into the royal household shall be given the name Zelda. So the backstory written for the second game was not only retroactively designed as the original Legend of Zelda, but was also meant to explain why multiple princesses share the same name. This lore is mostly outdated now, as Adventure of Link has ended up as the most recent game in the Downfall timeline branch, and therefore its backstory of Zelda I doesn't quite fit with the rest of the series, but this remains the only canonical, explicit explanation for the meaning behind The Legend of Zelda. Interestingly, Adventure of Link remains the only game in the main Zelda series which does not use the full title of The Legend of Zelda in its international release. It's officially titled Zelda 2: Adventure of Link. So, ironically, the only game to explain what The Legend of Zelda actually isn't even named after it. In the years since the NES games, Zelda has leaned into this idea of a legend. Though the tragedy of Princess Zelda I is an idea that was never revisited, the series' main elements, Link, Zelda, Ganon, Hyrule, and the Triforce, are legends in the game's cyclical histories. And out of universe too, the series' title has become something of a self-fulfilling prophecy. The games themselves have become legendary. Titles like A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild, all giants whose shadow is cast on all games that followed them. Now, almost 40 years later, the title The Legend of Zelda is as steeped in myth and lore as Hyrule itself. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked this shorter style, let me know by leaving a like or a comment. I've been wanting to experiment squeezing in shorter trivia videos between longer productions, like my recent Princess Zelda Power Ranking. Check that out if you haven't already, or if you're in the mood for some chill Zelda gameplay, head on over to my other channel, Zeldudes. Cheers guys, and I'll see you next time.